No.
You can join too if you like.
No. Get over here. No.
Now they've taken a jurisdictional grievance against us. They want us to blow it.
Yeah? Well, why don't you take your radio and go stand in a field?
Move!
Super Troopers from 2001 was a low-budget comedy that nobody expected to blow up, but it went on to become a cult phenomenon. From maple syrup chugging to meow games, the film carved out its place as one of the funniest indie comedies of the 2000s. But behind the laughs, the movie's journey to the screen was packed with strange casting choices, risky stunts, and unbelievable trivia that most fans have never heard about. Here are 20 shocking facts you didn't know about Super Troopers 2001. Number 1. Harvey Weinstein said he'd buy the script, but then he couldn't tell if it was funny. When Broken Lizard began shopping around Super Troopers, they first developed the film with Miramax after impressing Harvey Weinstein with their debut feature Puddle Cruiser 1996. A Miramax executive even told the group to treat it like their one and only chance at making a movie. Pour everything in, leave nothing out. They did exactly that. But when Weinstein read the script, his reaction was far from glowing. According to Jay Chandrasekhar, Weinstein shrugged and said, I don't know. Maybe I just don't know comedy. It's funny, but I don't know. Still, Weinstein played a key role in helping the movie get sold. At Sundance, he deliberately made a show of being seen with the Broken Lizard crew, creating buzz that spooked rival studios. The result? Fox Searchlight purchased the rights for $3 million. Number 2. More than 20 drafts were written. The script for Super Troopers didn't come together overnight. In fact, Broken Lizard went through more than 20 drafts before they finally had something they were happy with.
Oh, I got a job now. You're a local cop.
According to Kevin Heffernan, every version of the script piled on more and more jokes, tightening the rhythm until the film had a relentless pace. We try to do one joke every 6 seconds, Heffernan explained, and each draft was a new attempt to sharpen the comedy.
All right. Somebody get me a VTR copy of this thing, and I'll talk to Grady and see if he'll let us take a look at the Winnebago.
What started as a loose idea about prank-loving state troopers slowly evolved into a finely tuned collection of gags, running jokes, and absurd set pieces. By the time they reached the shooting script, nearly every scene was loaded with something funny. It was that density of humor, more like stand-up stitched into a story, that gave Super Troopers its cult comedy reputation. Number 3. One studio wanted Ben Affleck in it. When Broken Lizard set out to make Super Troopers, they were trying to raise $5.5 million for the project. Their one condition was non-negotiable. The members of Broken Lizard themselves would star, and Jay Chandrasekhar would direct. Studios were interested, but only if the group was willing to compromise. According to Chandrasekhar, one studio executive flat out asked if they could bring in Ben Affleck to play a part, and whether someone else could take over directing duties. The group refused to budge. For them, the project wasn't just about getting the movie made, it was about keeping creative control and making sure their brand of humor stayed intact. That meant saying no to bigger names and bigger money in favor of staying true to their vision, even if it meant a harder road ahead. Number 4. The film was financed by one investor. Making Super Troopers wasn't just a long shot, it was a financial gamble. The final budget came to just $1.25 million, and instead of a studio footing the bill, the entire project was bankrolled by a single investor. As Steve Lemmy explained, the backer was a recently retired Wall Street professional who wanted to get into movie production. After reading the script and watching Broken Lizard's first feature, Puddle Cruiser, he decided to take a chance on the group and handed over the cash. That one bold move not only made the film possible, but also paid off in the end. The investor got his full $1.25 million back once Super Troopers found its audience. For a comedy that almost didn't get made, it was the kind of happy ending most indie filmmakers only dream about. If you're enjoying this so far, hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome movie facts. And tell us in the comments, what movie brings you the most nostalgia, and which one should we cover next? Number 5. Brian Cox asked to be in the movie.
I'll believe that when my shit turns purple and smells like rainbow sherbet.
What?
One of the biggest surprises in Super Troopers is the appearance of acclaimed actor Brian Cox, best known for his Shakespearean stage work and serious film roles. You'd think Broken Lizard had to beg him to take part in their goofy comedy, but it was the opposite. According to Jay Chandrasekhar, Cox actually called them. Tired of constantly playing villains, pedophiles, and Nazi generals, Cox was eager to try his hand at comedy. A huge Jerry Lewis fan, he believed he had the chops for it and was actively searching for a role that would let him show a lighter side. He kept reaching out until he got the part, and the result was unforgettable. As Captain O'Hagan, Cox stole scenes and proved he could shine just as brightly in outrageous comedy as he did in high drama.
Those stickers had the same monkey logo, so we think there might be some kind of connection.
Number 6. Marissa Coughlan got the job because of her exorcist impression. Casting for Super Troopers wasn't just about finding the right look. It was about finding actors who could roll with Broken Lizard's brand of absurd comedy. Marissa Coughlan landed the role of Ursula, the local dispatcher and love interest.
Banana peels, lots of bananas.
Foster, how about if I just help you get in?
Thanks to a very unexpected audition moment. During the process, she busted out a dead-on impression of Linda Blair's possessed voice from The Exorcist, a performance so outrageous and funny that it won the group over instantly. It wasn't just her delivery of lines, but her willingness to dive headfirst into something so strange that convinced them she could match their offbeat energy. That fearless comedic instinct carried over to her performance in the movie, making Ursula one of the film's most memorable side characters. Sometimes the weirdest auditions make for the perfect casting. Number 7. Most of the extras went to the same school.
What's the significance of this John Chimpo fella?
Super Troopers may have been filmed on a tight budget, but Broken Lizard made the most of their personal connections to fill out the world. Many of the extras who appear in the movie, whether as bar patrons, townspeople, or background characters, came from the same place the troupe did, Colgate University. All 5 members of Broken Lizard attended the school, and when it came time to shoot their second feature, they leaned on that network of classmates and alumni to round out the cast. It was a practical choice. Extras were cheap, available, and game for the fun, but it also gave the production a kind of homemade authenticity. In a way, Super Troopers wasn't just a movie made by friends. It was populated by their extended college family, making the film's DIY spirit even stronger. Number 8. The opening scene was based in reality. The outrageous opening of Super Troopers, where college kids are forced to eat their stash of drugs to avoid getting caught, wasn't just a product of imagination. It came straight out of real life. According to Broken Lizard, the scene was inspired by a story involving some of their friends who got stopped by border guards at the US-Canada line.
Where are you boys headed?
Canada. We're going over the border to Canada for some French fries and gravy, sir.
After a joint was found in their Winnebago, everyone was ordered out of the vehicle. In a panic, one friend decided to eat an entire stash of mushrooms, enough for 10 people, hoping to hide the evidence. The result? He ended up tripping for 2 full days. Broken Lizard thought the story was too good not to use, so they worked it into the film's unforgettable opening sequence. Truth, in this case, really was stranger than fiction. Number 9. Heffernan and Chandrasekhar worked their parents into the movie. For Broken Lizard, Super Troopers was a family affair, literally. Kevin Heffernan's parents wanted to appear in their son's movie, and he happily agreed. What he didn't tell them, though, was exactly what the scene would involve. They ended up playing the unlucky couple who gets pulled over by Heffernan's character, Farva, only to be called chicken f***ers. The insult was filmed over 25 takes, meaning his parents had to endure it again and again on set. Jay Chandrasekhar also slipped in a family nod, though his was much more subtle. His character, Arcot Ramathorn, was named after Chandrasekhar's real father, Arcot. Between outrageous cameos and personal tributes, the Broken Lizard crew made sure their families were woven right into the DNA of the film. Number 10. The actors broke the law. Making Super Troopers didn't just involve pretending to be cops. Sometimes the cast actually crossed the line into real-life illegal territory. On Jay Chandrasekhar's orders, Kevin Heffernan once impersonated a police officer to stop traffic for a scene after the production assistants couldn't get it under control. Steve Lemmy also pushed his luck, driving around in uniform in a police cruiser and even flashing his lights at another driver who cut him off. and it worked. Eric Stolhansky was caught driving 100 miles per hour with his rollers on, but managed to talk his way out of trouble by claiming he didn't know they were running. Years later, Lemmy was pulled over doing 120.
No, I've been thinking a lot about what the captain said. I'd like to play it straight this time, okay?
But the officer turned out to be a massive fan of Super Troopers. Instead of a ticket, he got selfies. Number 11. The syrup was real. One of the most infamous scenes in Super Troopers is the syrup chugging contest, and you'd think the cast would have used a harmless prop like iced tea.
And you're never gonna win with those thin little bird lips you got there. See, this guy's got these big old power flips. Am I correct, Thorne?
In fact, that was the original plan. The prop master swapped the syrup bottles with iced tea to make the scene easier, but Eric Stolhansky quickly noticed something was off. The thin liquid didn't look convincing on camera. It didn't have the glug, glug, glug thickness that real syrup had. Jay Chandrasekhar wasn't about to sacrifice realism for comfort, so he made the call. The actors would chug actual syrup. The result was the perfect stomach-turning realism the scene needed, but behind the scenes, it left the actors fighting waves of nausea, proving that sometimes comedy gold comes at a very sticky price. Number 12. Heffernan didn't want Jim Gaffigan in the movie. Jim Gaffigan's cameo as the confused driver in the meow scene.
Now what is so damn funny?
I could have sworn you said meow.
Do I look like a cat to you, boy?
Is one of the funniest moments in Super Troopers, but it almost didn't happen. Kevin Heffernan admitted he wasn't thrilled about casting Gaffigan at first. The stand-up comic was relatively unknown at the time, and Heffernan worried he wouldn't be the right fit for the quick, deadpan role. Jay Chandrasekhar, however, pushed for Gaffigan, convinced his straight-faced delivery would be perfect against the troopers' ridiculous antics. Heffernan eventually agreed, and the result was comedy history. Gaffigan's baffled reactions helped make the meow gag one of the most iconic scenes in the film. Today, it's hard to imagine anyone else in the part, and even Heffernan admits it turned out to be the right call. Number 13. There was an alternate ending. While fans know Super Troopers for its chaotic finale with the troopers busting the drug smugglers, that wasn't the only ending Broken Lizard had in mind. The group actually shot an alternate conclusion where the guys didn't become heroes, but instead got fired and ended up working at a burger joint. The last scene would have shown them serving fast food in their uniforms, still pulling the same pranks, just in a different setting. The idea fit with Broken Lizard's absurd sense of humor, but ultimately felt too bleak after the troopers had spent the whole film trying to prove themselves. Test audiences weren't sold on it either, so the more triumphant ending made the cut. Still, the alternate version lives on as one of the strangest what-ifs from the production. Number 14. The original idea for the sequel was set in the 1970s. Super Troopers 2 went through several wild ideas before it finally got made. Back in 2006, Jay Chandrasekhar revealed that the group's first concept was a prequel called Super Troopers 76, which would follow the fathers of the bumbling state troopers during the 1970s. By 2009, however, the idea had shifted to a direct sequel, set just 3 months after the original film, with the troopers handling a border dispute between the US and Canada. That version eventually got the green light, but only after fans stepped in to help. Broken Lizard raised over $4.5 million on Indiegogo.
I feel like I just gotta get into that Winnebago. So after I jimmy the door, I do a quick recon.
At the time, setting the record as the highest-funded film in the site's history. Filming began in 2015, proving that the fan base was still strong enough to bring the Vermont troopers back nearly 15 years later. Number 15. One of the actors' mothers came up with the title. Believe it or not, the title Super Troopers didn't come from the comedy troupe at all. It actually came from one of their mothers. According to the group, while they were brainstorming names for their Vermont State Trooper comedy, one of the actors mentioned it to his mom. She casually suggested, "Why not just call it Super Troopers?" The name stuck instantly.
Give me a pie, apple.
Do you want me to hold the spit? Just kidding, Officer Farva.
It was simple, funny, and perfectly captured the over-the-top vibe of the movie. For a project that had to fight through endless rewrites, skeptical studios, and a shoestring budget, the title ended up being one of the easiest decisions. And it all came from a mom's offhand comment. Proof that sometimes the best ideas don't come from Hollywood meetings, but from family kitchen tables. Number 16. It was nearly a TV series. Before Super Troopers became a cult comedy hit, Broken Lizard actually considered making it as a TV series instead of a film. The troupe envisioned the concept working like a raunchy, episodic cop comedy, more in line with sitcoms but with their signature absurd style. In the end, they decided the story had bigger potential on the big screen, even if that meant taking a much riskier path with funding and distribution. It was a gamble that paid off, as the film eventually sold to Fox Searchlight and found its cult audience.
Either you let us in on this investigation, or I'm going to embarrass you personally.
Oh, how embarrassed?
Still, imagining Super Troopers as a weekly TV series is a fascinating what if. And given how much the group thrived on running gags, it's easy to picture the show becoming just as quotable. Number 17, it allowed Brian Cox to branch out.
What did you find out at the weigh station?
My cruiser weighs 16,000 kilograms.
For decades, Brian Cox was typecast in serious, often menacing roles: Nazi generals, mobsters, corrupt officials, and other heavyweights. When Super Troopers came along, it gave him a chance to completely flip that image on its head. Playing Captain O'Hagan let Cox dive into broad comedy for the first time in his career. Something he had long wanted to try, but rarely had the opportunity to do. Cox later said he relished the chance to show his comedic chops, and audiences loved seeing a Shakespearean actor cut loose in a stoner comedy. The experience even opened the door to more comedic projects for him down the line. For Broken Lizard, casting Cox not only gave their film credibility, it also helped one of Britain's greatest actors break free of his typecast image. Number 18. Marisa Coughlin's character was named after their buddy.
Well, where were we?
You were laying your best rap on me, and I was resisting.
Oh, but you were starting to think about it.
Marisa Coughlin brought a quirky charm to Ursula Hanson, the small-town dispatcher who falls for Rabbit. But the name Ursula Hanson wasn't randomly chosen. It was actually a tribute to one of Broken Lizard's close friends. The troupe had a buddy from their college days at Colgate University whose last name was Hanson, and they decided to immortalize him in the film by giving Ursula his name. It was one of several ways the group worked personal Easter eggs into the movie, blending their real lives with the fictional world of Vermont State Troopers. For Coughlin, the part became a career highlight, especially since she only landed it after impressing the guys with her bizarre exorcist audition. And for their friend Hanson, it meant that every time someone watched Super Troopers, his name lived on in cult comedy history, a permanent in-joke among the troupe's inner circle. Number 19. Real cops love the movie. While Super Troopers pokes fun at police with over-the-top pranks, lazy patrols, and absurd antics, the film surprisingly became a favorite among real officers.
This is no problem. Put your hands in the car and spread them. Now some fun for...
According to the Broken Lizard crew, cops frequently approach them to say how much they love the movie. Some even admitted they play games similar to the meow gag during traffic stops, turning the film's most ridiculous moments into real-life jokes on the job. Rather than being offended, many officers embraced the satire, seeing it as a playful exaggeration of the quirks that come with the badge. The film's cult following wasn't limited to college kids and stoner audiences. It also spread through police departments across the country. For Broken Lizard, knowing that the very people they were parodying actually appreciated the humor became one of the biggest compliments of all. Number 20. About that bar of soap. One of the funniest moments in Super Troopers comes when Captain O'Hagan, played by Brian Cox, chomps down on a bar of soap.
I like it here. Oh, hell! Give me the goddamn soap!
But in reality, that bar wasn't soap at all. It was made of white chocolate. The problem, Cox is diabetic, and no one had told him beforehand that it wasn't sugar-free. After biting into it, he was furious when he realized what he'd just eaten. The crew quickly scrambled to fix the mistake, rushing to find a sugar-free version so Cox could safely finish the scene. What could have been a minor background gag suddenly became a stressful behind-the-scenes scramble to keep both the actor and the production moving. In the end, Cox powered through, giving the scene its hilarious punch. But the story proves that sometimes the smallest props can cause the biggest problems on set. And that's our list of 20 shocking facts about Super Troopers, 2001. From real syrup chugging to Brian Cox biting into chocolate soap, the making of this cult comedy was just as absurd as the film itself. Which fact was your favorite? Drop it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss more behind-the-scenes stories from your favorite movies.